So you finally finished building your application. You've got a slick UI, the core features are running smoothly, and hey, feature requests are already rolling in. Things are looking good. Soon you will finally be a multi-millionaire. But before that happens, you need to implement billing. So you open up Stripe and then you realize, oh wow, this isn't just one thing.
Bruh.
You've got to think about pricing models, plans, metering, invoices, taxes, receipts, customer portals, and the most important thing, entitlements. Suddenly, you're not building features anymore, you're building billing infrastructure. So now the question arises, how exactly does a Stripe checkout flow work? And more importantly, how do we simplify and streamline billing without reinventing the wheel? Well, let me show you. So right here I created a relatively simple diagram with 4 entities. First of all, I have a user. Yes, you need users to create a checkout flow. Then for the front end, I used Next.js, but this could literally be anything: React, Svelte, whatever the cool kids use. Then for the back end, I have Hono, because again, the cool kids right now use Hono, but in most cases, I personally just use Next.js with the route handlers and server actions for my back end. And then of course, we also have to process the payments. Sadly, I myself can't process the payments. I don't have any connections to big banks. Hey, Wells Fargo, call me. And that's the reason why I have to use Stripe, and that's also the reason why most people use Stripe. Stripe will process the payment for us and deal with all of the risks. And now, how does this whole flow, this whole checkout flow look like, and how does it work? Good question, let me show it to you. So first of all, our user will open our website and see, hey, this user sells a subscription for, let's say, $20 per month to get access to the application. This means in most cases, you have to create some sort of pricing table with a free tier, with a pro tier, and maybe with an enterprise tier. And now this user wants to subscribe to your pro tier. Congrats. Very cool. This means this user will click on the buy button, and this also means that the user will make a request to your front end. The front end, of course, can't handle this. This means the front end will then make a request to the back end, and the back end will now get the info. Hey, this user wants to buy access to our application, but again, our back end cannot handle or process the payment. This means the back end will create a checkout session for us personally, because we want to store the info in our database. We want to know what user, what tier, and stuff like that. This means we will store the info in our database, we will make a request to the database, but this still does not interact with Stripe. The next step is to then make a request to Stripe to create a checkout session. So we created a checkout session in our backend just to store the data in our database, and then we make a request to Stripe, and Stripe will create another checkout session, and then Stripe will return the checkout session as a response. And this checkout session is just a standard JavaScript object with a few key details like what tier, what user, what price, what monthly plan, in other words, and stuff like that. So the backend will get this object, and the most important thing is that this object also has a checkout URL, because we want to of course let the user pay for our application, and this means we will redirect the user to the hosted Stripe checkout page, because this URL is there to redirect the user to this page. Now, how does this hosted checkout page look like? Good question. Let me show it to you. So right here, this is my website, Marshall Code. And if a user clicks on Get Premium Access and clicks on Checkout Now, I will redirect the user, or in other words, my backend will redirect the user to this hosted checkout page. And that's also exactly what we want to do. Now right here, this is for simple payments, one-off payments. But in our case, in this example, we want to of course allow users to subscribe to a plan and then pay monthly. So right here, I can just say Stripe checkout page. And then once the user successfully enters his credit card details and clicks on Pay Now, Stripe will get a request and then of course process it and bill the user. Now here's the thing, this could either be successful or it could fail. This means this Stripe hosted checkout will pretty much respond to this request and then redirect the user. Now this redirect could either be successful or failed. What do I mean by that? Well, Stripe will redirect the user to either a success page or to a cancelled page. If I go back to my example and if I click on cancel, it will redirect the user to this cancelled page. This means you as the developer have to now create two routes. One for the cancelled, you could say checkouts, and one for the successful checkouts. So that's again one thing that you have to implement as a developer. And of course the backend also talks to our front end, but in general this is our simple checkout flow. A user makes a request to the front end makes a request to the back end creates a checkout session, then Stripe creates a checkout session, we redirect the user to the hosted checkout page, the user pays, and that's it. But now here's the thing, we want to implement subscriptions, so a user pays monthly. This means we have to also pretty much listen for an event to know if the payment was successful, because for example, if a user subscribes for the first time, the payment might be successful, but if in the next month the user payment fails because the card does not have enough money, we want to know that. We want to then block the user pretty much. This means right here Stripe will now make also a request to our backend, and that's because we have to now implement a webhook handler. So right here I can just say webhook, and now this webhook handler will listen for many events. Like in most complex applications you have to listen for about 30 events, but the most basic events are there to handle failures, success, and also if we are not able to recharge the user. These are like the most common events, but again, in most cases, you have way more events that you listen for. So now you could say that we are finally finished with the real checkout flow. Nevertheless, this is a very simplified example because of course you have to now also implement auth. You want to only allow authenticated users to subscribe to your plan. You have to also make sure that all of the requests are authenticated. So there are a lot of layers that you have to build. So right here I can say auth, and also your whole application has to handle many events. What do I mean by that? Well, you have to handle success and failure. We have to allow the user to update the subscription. If the user wants to go from the free plan to the paid plan, we have to allow the user to do that. Also, we should be able to modify existing features, entitlements. What is meant by that? Well, for example, if a user subscribes to the pro plan, he might get 50 requests. You as a developer have to be able to update that dynamically without really changing all of the logic in your code. Also, you have to be able to bundle fixed and usage-based pricing into a single plan. For example, a fixed price per month plus usage-based AI credits with a single subscription. This is not easy to implement yourself. And also, of course, you have to be able to create plans. So this is like the core feature set that you have to enable or develop as a developer. I would say that something like that would probably take 1 to 2 weeks if you are a good developer with many coworkers. It's not easy, you have to test everything, see that everything works and stuff like that. So now you might say, hey Jan, I mean yeah, this diagram looks nice, but why are you showing me all of this right here? I mean, there's nothing that we can change. Yes, billing is annoying, it's annoying to implement it, it's very hard, it can get very complicated very fast, especially in a B2B context. But I mean, we are developers, this is our job, right? As some people might say, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Well, it was like that for a long time, but recently something has changed. What changed everything? Well, let me show you. So I think you all know what Kind is. Kind is a company that I have been featuring on my channel already for over 2 years. I have been using them privately ever since in my own projects and companies. And most of you probably know Kind as this auth provider. They allow you to implement authentication and of course also authorization and of course also feature flags. But recently they released something huge, and that's billing. billing without building it yourself. So billing is actually a layer built on top of Stripe, which allows you to pretty much streamline and simplify this whole checkout flow. Now, what's the nice thing right here with kind billing? You might ask me, what does it simplify and what's the benefit of using kind? I mean, it's another layer built on top of Stripe. That's a very valid question that you have. So first of all, kind billing is one system. This means you don't need to sync your users anymore between your database, kind, Stripe, and stuff like that. Kind syncs everything for you, and you can use kind as your source of truth. Nevertheless, I would still encourage you to sync it with your own database. Secondly, there's zero setup. You don't have to create any pricing plans. You don't have to create this entitlements feature, unmetered features, metered features. Everything is built right into kind billing. And probably one of the most powerful features is that kind allows you to implement billing both for B2B and B2C, because implementing billing for B2C is hard, but it's manageable. But implementing billing for B2B is quite hard. And the best thing is it's plug and play. Now here's the thing. Right now, billing is built on top of Stripe. They use Stripe Connect to enable everything. Now I talked to the team. In the future, they will also enable other payment processors, because I know not everybody can use Stripe. Nevertheless, I want to now show you how to implement billing in literally something like 10 or 20 minutes. So the first step is to sign in. And also, what exactly do I want to do? So this is the software that I'm trying to sell right here. By the way, this is a beautiful landing page. And nevertheless, right here, I have a nav bar with a login button and sign up button. And once a user clicks on sign up, I want to, of course, redirect the user to authenticate. And once authenticated, I want to allow the user to sign up to my overpriced software. So as you see right here, I'm now in the kind dashboard. And before I implement anything, I want to first of all switch into the development environment, because I'm currently in the production environment and you want to never test features or anything literally in production. So right here, I will just go into all environments. Then you can click on add environment and create a development environment. Then once you are in the development environment, you want to add your application right here. So I use Next.js. So for the name, this will be Next.js, and Next.js is a backend framework. So I will click on save, and right here, I will select Next.js. Then as you see right here, before I get started, I have to set the callback URL and logout URL. So I will click on set and then also right here set. The next step is to implement kind into my application. So here they have a tab existing code base, and this is like a little quick start guide. So please just follow this quick start guide. I will also do it, and once finished, I will come back. So I am now finished with the quick start guide, and the last step is to of course also allow the users to log in and register. So right here you can use the login link and register link components to start the flow. So I will just copy the import statement. I will open my nav bar, and then right here I can just import these two components. If I scroll to the bottom, then you will see right here that I use two links. So I use two link components, and one is there to log in and the other one is there to sign up. So instead of using the link component right here for login, I will use the login link component, and instead of using this link, I will use the register link component. Both of these components are headless, so that's why I right here added a class name which is equal to button variants to style this link like a shared CNUI button. If I again go back to my landing page and click on sign up, I should get redirected in theory. And that's exactly what happened. I can now log in, or in other words, sign up with my email. But to be honest with you, I want to sign up with Google. This means I can go back to the dashboard, and then right here in the sidebar, there's the section called authentication. And right here, I want to add a new social connection, and I want to add Google. Then once added, I can go back right here and also of course turn it on. If I now again go back and do a hard refresh, I can now continue with Google. So as you see right here, I got redirected to the dashboard. That's because I have this login redirect URL, which redirects the users, the authenticated users, to the dashboard route. If I go back to the kind dashboard, then you will also see that I have one user, and that's me, Jan Marshall. And if I go back to my landing page, then you will see that I have a huge problem. I still render the login and sign up buttons, but this shouldn't happen because I have a valid user session. This means right here in the nav bar, I want to get the user session. Now, since this is a server component, I will do it on the server side, but in most cases, you want to do it on the client side. So right here above the return statement, I can create a constant, the structured, and this will be equal to the getKindServerSession hook. The getKindServerSession hook exposes functions that only run on the server side. And I want to get the getUser function, and this is a promise, which means I have to await it. Constant user equals to await getUser. Since I now get my user session, I can create a ternary, because the user could either be defined as you see right here, or it could be null if there's no valid user session. So if I scroll to the bottom right here in the div, I will create a ternary, and if there is a user, I will right here just render this link, and if there's no user, then I will render these two links. So if I again go back and do a hard refresh, then you will see right here that it says dashboard. I want to render another link, and this will be there to log out, so I can just copy paste this. So as you see right here, I now have two links, one to redirect the user to the dashboard, and then one to log out the user. So if I again go back to my landing page, then you will see these two buttons right here. Now, instead of using this link, I will rather use the logout link component provided by Kind. I can just replace the link with the logout link component, and if I again go back and click on logout, it will sign me out. Nice. So now we have finished with basic authentication, and the next step is to implement billing. Finally. So right here, if you go back to the Kind dashboard, then you will see something interesting in the sidebar. Billing. But before you implement billing, you want to first of all open the settings, and then if you scroll to the bottom, you will find a billing section. And before you implement anything, you want to connect your Stripe account, and that's what I will do right now. My Stripe account is now finally linked right here. Nevertheless, I get a warning right here, and that's because I added a fake tax ID. I should have in theory added a real one, but since I'm in development, it does not really matter. Then also, if I scroll a bit to the bottom, I can already update like core details. So the default currency will be USD. I think that's quite a good default. And then for the policies, you can update them if you want to. But here's one important thing that I want to enable, and that's that I want to show the pricing table when a customer signs up. This means once a user goes to my landing page and sees, wow, this software looks so cool, let me buy it, he will click on sign up, register, and before getting redirected back to my landing page, the user will see a pricing table. So the core billing details are now finalized, which means I can go back to the dashboard and I can go to the billing section. Now right here in the sidebar, you will see two sections, one for plans and one for pricing tables. Now before you can generate a pricing table, you have to first of all create a plan. Now what plans should we create? Good question. So right here I created a little table on what plans I want to offer. I want to offer a free plan, a pro plan, and a team plan with these features right here. This means I can go back, I want to add a plan, then this plan will be for users because I want to sell to users, B2C. If you want to sell to organizations, to companies, then please select organizations. For the name, this will be free because this is the free plan. Then I can continue. For the key, this will be free. This is what you will then later on reference in your code base. So please make it very easy to type and don't forget it. And then for the default currency, this will be USD. Now here you will see something interesting. This is now your plan. But before we now edit the plan, if we go back to the actual plans overview, then you will see that this right here created a group, a default user group. In theory, you can create another group for organizations, for example, or whatever. You can have multiple groups, but right here, we will just leave it as this default user group. Then inside of here, I can add a charge. So right here, add charge. For the name, this will just be base price. For the price, this will be 0 because this is the free tier. As you now already see right here, plan details, free, pricing $0 per month, and right here 0 features. This is not good, so let's add a feature. I can click on add feature, and now there are two types. You can either add an unmetered feature or a metered feature. What does this mean? Well, an unmetered feature is a basic feature with no pricing attached to it. So if we go back to our diagram, then this basic dashboard axis is an unmetered feature. A metered feature is something that is measured in units, or for example, often with pricing per unit. In this case, for example, our monthly API calls, this is a metered feature. So right here, I want to create a new unmetered feature. For the name, this will be basic dashboard axis. I can also add a key, basic dashboard axis, and then I want to click on save. So this is feature number 1. I can add another feature. This will be a metered feature. And in this case, this will be this 100 monthly API calls. I can paste it for the description. And for the key, this is again what you will reference in your code. So I will just say monthly dash API calls. I can also add maximum units. Again, what was the maximum amount? 100. This means right here, I will say 100. And for the unit measurement, this will be unit. You could also say API or calls or whatever, but unit makes a lot of sense. And then for the pricing model, this will be none because the user does not have to pay for these 100 requests. So I will just click on save. And now as you see right here, this plan has 2 features. The status is a draft, which means if I publish this, it will now be a published plan. If I go back to my plans, as you see right here, 1 plan with 3 features. And also you see right here that the base price, $0, is now synced with Stripe. Let's create another plan, and this will be the Pro plan. So I can copy the name, paste it inside of here, paste it for the description, and for the key, this will be Pro lowercase. I want to add a fixed charge. What was this again? $29 per month. So right here, I will say 29, and for the name, this will be base price. If I click again on save, it will save everything, and then I want to again add features. So again, if we go back to the diagram, this Pro tier has the same features as this free tier, meaning with the Pro plan, a user can still access the dashboard, create 100 monthly API calls, but there's one additional feature, and that's the custom branding. This means if I again go back, I want to add a existing feature, and I want to add the basic dashboard axis. Then I can click on save, and I want to add another existing feature, and that's 100 monthly API calls. And then I want to add one more feature, and this will be right here, custom branding, which means I want to add an unmetered feature. For the name, this will be custom branding, and for the key, custom dash branding. I can then publish this plan, and as you see right here, the status is now published. Now there's one more plan missing, and that's the team plan, and also the team plan won't be $29 per month. No, I will whip off my customers. It will be $500 per month. Yes, I want to earn some money. So this means we can go back, and I will click on add new plan, and I will now fill out all of the information myself. You will also do it, and once finished, I will come back and we will meet each other again. Alright, so right here I now have 3 pricing tiers, a free plan, a pro plan, and a team plan with both unmetered and metered features. And the next step is to add a pricing table, or in other words, to generate one. So right here I can click on add pricing table, and I want to generate one. Right here I have to select the group, As you all know, we already have a group. This is the user plans group. This is the default group, and I will click on save. This will now auto-generate the table with these 3 plans. Right here, I can also edit the pricing table, and I want to make it live. This means I want to allow users to sign up for the plans. And then also right here, you now see the plans again listed. So there are 3 plans: the free plan, the pro plan, and the team plan. First of all, I can save this, and for example, I want to also highlight a specific plan. So I want the users to sign up to my pro plan because they should pay something. So right here, I can click on the 3 dots and I want to highlight the plan. Also, you can edit the content. So if you click on edit, then right here, you can edit all of the information, the description, the display name, the CTA button text. But right here, I will leave it as the default and click on save. Now, in theory, everything should work, which means I guess it's time to test it out. So if I go back to home, I want to go to my users and I want to delete myself. No, but I have to do it to test it out. So now I don't have any users anymore. If I go back to my application, I have my default state with login and sign up. And if I click on sign up, I will get redirected. That's already a good sign. I will right here continue with Google. And as you see right here, I got redirected to a new website. Instead of getting redirected to my homepage or to my dashboard, I got redirected to this billing page. And I can now select a plan. I can choose a plan and subscribe to it. Again, right here, the text is the default text. That's because we did not update it. But if you update it, then you will also right here get a more descriptive features list. So I want to select this plan right here, choose plan, and as you see right here, I can now pay for this plan. Since this is the development environment, you can just use the standard Stripe test data, card test data, which is 424242. And if I now click on subscribe and pay now, I should in theory get redirected back to my application. Okay, maybe I did not get redirected. This is the success page, which is also nice. And if I now click on continue, I will get redirected. And if I go back to my diagram, you will see something interesting. Right now, we literally just implemented the front end and the back end, and kind of course. But there's no database, no Stripe hosted checkout page, no webhook handler, no success page or cancelled page. Everything is handled by Kind. So this means if I go back to Kind and go to my users, in theory, I should now again have one user. Yes, Jan Marshall. And here you will see something interesting. Jan Marshall, if I go right here to billing, is actually subscribed to the Pro plan. And this means Jan Marshall pays $29 per month. And right here you again see all of my entitlements or features that I can use. But the thing is, if I now go back to my homepage, it still shows right here the dashboard and logout buttons. But here's the thing. I already know, or in other words, Kind already knows that I'm subscribed to the Pro plan. This means I would also like to right here display a little badge which says, hey, Jan is on the Pro tier or on the free tier or maybe on the team plan. Who knows, maybe he's rich. But yeah, I would like to know that. And also I would like to get the entitlements because again, if I go to my users and if I go to Jan Marshall, as you all know, I have 3 entitlements, or in this case, I have 2 entitlements because I now updated the plan quickly. So I have 100 monthly API calls and I have access to the basic dashboard. This means I want to also get this info because I want to then later on pretty much use that for my dashboard. Who cares right now? I want to get my entitlements. How do I do that? Good question. So thankfully, Kind offers us or gives us the Kind account API. So in general, they have the management API and you can hit this billing endpoint, this entitlements endpoint, and this will return all of the entitlements that the user in general currently has access to. In this case, this will be right here, 2 entitlements. So if I go back to my application, then you will see that I right here created a new route handler. This is a simple GET request and I literally just right here, hit this endpoint, and that's it. I get the data and then I return it. Nothing groundbreaking, and again, all of the code is linked down in the YouTube description if you want to also do a bit of copy pasting. And then I also rewrote my navbar a bit. This is now a client component. I get the user session on the client side with the use kind browser client hook. I did this right here because again, at the end of the day, actually you should get your user session on the client side, not on the server side. I created a lot of videos on that, but in short, it's just there to preserve static rendering. Nevertheless, I now get my user session using this hook. This is the client component, and inside of here I now have a use effect hook to literally just fetch this route handler to make a get request and then to get this data. That's it. Again, nothing groundbreaking. And now in theory I can just console log my entitlements data. This is what I get from my route handler. This in theory should be an object, maybe an array, who knows? Let's see. If I go back and do a hard refresh, nothing changes. It right here still displays these two buttons. That's fine. But if I go into my inspector and into the console, you will see right here an object. Let me also zoom in a bit. And as you see right here, we get a data object and then metadata and a success boolean. So it was successful. That's good. And we have in total 3 entitlements. In theory, only 2. One entitlement, this is the base price, so I'm subscribed to this base price, $0 per month. And then right here I have my features. First of all, basic dashboard access and then monthly API calls. So this looks good. And then also right here I have a plans array, and then this plans array has an object which is the free plan. So as you see, this is an object with a key. This is free. This means I'm on the free plan. So now I can use this info and render a little badge. So right here I created a little helper function which will just tell me on what plan I am, and I have to pass an entitlement key, like for example pro, and if I'm on the pro plan then this will be true. This means right here at the bottom I can just create a badge and create a few ternaries. Who doesn't love ternaries? If the user is on the pro plan, I will render pro. If the user is on the team plan, I will render team, and if the user is on the free plan, I will render free. This means in theory, if I go back and do a hard refresh, it should say right here, free. Oh my god, it worked. But now I want to actually upgrade. I want to go from the free plan to the pro plan, or maybe even to the team plan. Who knows? What does this mean for us? Well, this would now mean that I would have to scroll to the bottom, find the support email and email the developer and say, hey Jan, so in this case I'm the developer, hey Jan, your website is not broken, but I want to upgrade. I want to give more money to you. And honestly, I don't want that. I want to offer like a self-serve portal. The user should be able to upgrade himself. I don't want to touch anything. Can maybe Kind help us? Good question. Thankfully, they can help us. So if you go back to the dashboard, then you can go to the settings, and here you will find a section called self-serve portal. What you can do right here is enable it. So for the user self-management, enable the user profile and also billing. If you enable billing, this will allow users to manage their billing information. I can then click on save, and also if you right here build a B2B application, then please right here also enable it for organizations. But this is now finished. I can go back, and how can I now use the self-serve portal? Good question. It's very easy. You want to again use a component. So right here at the top where we import the register link, login link and logout link, we can get the portal link. And then here for this link, instead of redirecting the user to the dashboard, I will instead use the portal link, and the portal link will redirect the user to the self-serve portal. Let me show it to you. If I now go back, everything still works, everything still looks the same, but if I click on dashboard, I will get redirected to this self-serve portal. And as you see right here, there are a lot of things that I can update. First of all, I can update profile data. So I'm now called Jan Fisher Marshall, and then I can also update my plan. For example, as you see right here, I'm on the free plan, so if I click on change plan, I can either upgrade to the pro plan or to the team plan. I want to upgrade to the team plan, and as you see right here, my plan has been updated. I'm now on the team plan. I now pay $500 per month, and if I go back to my application, it also updated right here. It says team. If I again change the plan, so let's go to the free plan, I can just subscribe and pay now. I'm now on the free plan, and if I do a hard refresh right here, you will also see that it updated in my application. Also, I again see my features and the pricing. I can update my payment details if I want to, but I think this is fine enough. I'm very proud of the Kind team. It was a long journey, but they finally made it and they released billing to the public. I will soon release a big video where we will implement billing in a B2B context, and I will create a lot of cool things: AI, B2B, billing, payments. Whew, it will be super cool. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you, Kind, for making this video possible. I hope you could learn a lot about billing, and I hope you will try it out because it's super fancy. And now enjoy your day, and I hope I can see you in the next video. Enjoy your day and bye bye.